In a single week, Seline went from one of the most overlooked restaurants in Los Angeles to one of the most celebrated. Last year, we called Seline the best new restaurant in LA and said it was destined for a Michelin star. It didn't earn one in its first year, but now it's finally happened. In the span of a week, Seline earned its first Michelin star, and Chef Dave Beran won the James Beard Award for the best chef in California. We're Anders and Kaitlin, and we travel for food. But today we're in my hometown of Los Angeles, and we're taking you to Seline. Chef Dave Beran previously worked at 3 Michelin-starred Alinea in Chicago, but Angelinos are more likely to know him for his fine dining restaurant Dialogue or his French bistro Pastroli. We've been following Chef Beran since we visited Dialogue back in 2019. But now, after 2 meals at Seline, we're convinced this is the best food of his career. In a city of hype, Seline has been flying under the radar, but no longer. It's finally getting the recognition it deserves. Seline is tucked away in a secret garden in Santa Monica. The space was formerly Arnold Schwarzenegger's restaurant, but now Chef Beran is serving a tasting menu with over 15 courses here. Step through the double black doors and enter a culinary wonderland. The menu is ingredient-driven and Southern California inspired, showcasing produce from local farmers. You'll encounter unusual combinations like leek, banana, and eucalyptus, or coffee and caviar. You'll enjoy a mid-meal serving of ice cream, and you might even eat carrots for dessert. But don't be afraid, this is easily some of the highest level cooking you'll find in LA. The first dish was inspired by a Nordic breakfast with smoked sturgeon, egg yolk jam, rye bread, smoked trout roe, and cauliflower snow. We loved the texture contrasts here with crispy rye, creamy cauliflower, and pops of roe. Next came a bite inspired by a fallen tree branch. A crispy hollow chip filled with a green garlic and eucalyptus puree, served with an artichoke dip. Another small snack followed. A puffed beef tendon topped with smoked juniper powder. This wasn't our favorite bite of the night, but it was a nice beefy crunch. Chef Beran is a master of broths. He served a gently poached black cod in a super rich broth of braised sunchokes and sunflower seeds. The flavors were deep and caramelized, while the fish was incredibly tender. This dish felt like a hug. The rest of the fish was used next, served on the bones of the cod. At the tip was a crispy chip filled with cod head mousse. This was a fun way to use the leftover fish parts. Then came a highlight dish. The presentation looked like the tip of a mountain poking through the clouds. A sunflower seed and farro ragu covered with a black trumpet and Parmesan blanket, and served with a buttery mushroom foam. Another favorite followed. A dish Beran described as a celery root dish with a garnish of meat. Thin slices of salt-baked celery root covered a few spoonfuls of venison tartare, mixed with a savory granola of sunflower seeds and crispy shallots. Before we dug into the tartare, Beran instructed us to eat a bite of preserved cherry and pistachio paste. It tasted nutty and jammy like a PB&J, coating our mouths and tricking our brains into thinking there was cherry jam in the tartare. And then came a surprise we never expected. A mid-meal ice cream break. The rest of the celery root was transformed into an ice cream, served tableside from the celery root itself. We never would have guessed this creamy, sweet ice cream was made from a vegetable, and the rich miso fudge on the side made it even better. The following course was so time-sensitive that we had to go into the kitchen to eat it. A mustard leaf was dipped in passion fruit juice, frozen in liquid nitrogen, and dusted with ginger sugar. This bite unfolded in 3 stages. First, the frozen brittle texture, then the bright freshness of the passion fruit, and finally the peppery bite of the mustard leaf. The perfect palate cleanser.
That's so good.
When we returned to the table, we were comforted with a mushroom broth finished with vanilla, cacao nibs, and seaweed oil.
So sweet and salty. The vanilla is insane.
Then came another hug of a dish. Market potatoes served with lightly poached Dungeness crab, seasoned with pine and seaweed salt, and topped with paper-thin shards of crispy potato. We dug all the way through the bowl to get every component and texture. Every bite was buttery, crispy, salty, and incredibly comforting.
Wow, so good with textures and flavor.
The following course featured grilled pheasant breast and confit pheasant leg, served with crumbled pumpernickel and kale, foraged leaves, and a creamy blanquette sauce. This was a delicious meat course. The final savory course was a braised short rib pot roast, inspired by the kind of crock pot meal Chef Beran's grandma would make. Warm, bubbling comfort food with crispy bits around the edges. We loved the idea behind this dish, but we found it quite rich on its own. It was best when combined with the incredible bread served alongside it. A brioche dinner roll fried in beef fat, resulting in a light and airy donut. Soft, fluffy, and oh so buttery. This was the perfect vehicle for the short rib. Something we didn't expect? Seline's non-alcoholic pairing is the best we've ever had. Every drink is made from ingredients from the kitchen, so it really felt like a natural extension of the tasting menu. We loved the refreshing peachy kombucha that kicked off the pairing, and a complex combo of oolong tea, chamomile, honey, and orange. A carbonated blend of cacao, red wine vinegar, and fennel molasses somehow tasted like chocolate soda. A buttery sparkling pear beverage replaced champagne.
Smells like tarte tatin. Tastes like sparkling tarte tatin.
While a wild tomato seed and Szechuan pepper soda was earthy, funky, and spicy.
Smells like gazpacho.
The pairing finished with an incredible roasted banana milk punch that was rich, round, and packed with depth of flavor. We would come back to Seline just to drink the non-alcoholic pairing again. Seline's signature dish is a dessert that marries two unlikely ingredients, coffee and caviar. This is the only dish Beran brought with him from Dialogue. Legend has it that the combo came together by accident while he was drinking coffee one day at work and simultaneously testing the quality of a tin of caviar. The rest is history. Hazelnuts dressed in black tea oil are topped with coffee and glace and osietra caviar. It's an unusual and intense combination, but everything is beautifully balanced. The creamy hazelnut butter and nutty caviar go incredibly well together. It tastes like a milky hazelnut latte with a subtle grounding coffee note.
There's a subtle coffee flavor. Okay, once you get the hazelnuts in the bite, you don't feel the coffee anymore. Then it becomes like a background flavor. And yeah, the caviar has no fishiness.
Yet somehow we loved the next dessert even more. Carrots cured in sugar for 24 hours were served with walnut puree, white chocolate, and a graham cracker crumble. Who would have guessed that carrots as a dessert could be so delicious? It tasted a bit like carrot cake, sweet, nutty, and packed with texture. This was one of our favorite dishes and ended the meal on a high. The final sip was a caramel corn soup, sweet, salty, and buttery, with all the flavors of liquid kettle corn. A fun finish inspired by eating popcorn on the couch in front of the TV at the end of the night. Seline is a restaurant that is doing something different. There is no other menu quite like this in Los Angeles. Chef Dave Beran is serving creative, unique dishes in a style all his own, and it really feels like a personal artistic expression. So many of these dishes are unexpected flavor combinations, but then you take a bite and your mind is blown. Seline is a place where you can trust the chef and you'll be rewarded. We've been following Dave Beran since his Dialogue days, and we loved his food already then. But now, after 2 visits to Seline, we can confidently say that this is his strongest cooking yet. And we're so happy to see Michelin and James Beard agree. If you're planning a food trip to Los Angeles, put Seline at the very top of your list. Did you know we have an international food community? Join the Hungries to connect with other foodies around the world. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more food and travel videos. And be sure to follow us on Instagram @AndersHusa and Carnivore. Thanks for watching!